we had a new star emerge. You want to talk about the it factor? Cade Cunningham, he feels like he has it. We discussed after game 1 of that Detroit-New York series that it took Cade Cunningham a quarter to get used to what playoff basketball is.
Mm-hmm.
He came out firing.
Figured it out.
In the
Turns
first
out,
quarter last night.
Being a 6'6" powerhouse of a guard, really conducive to playoff basketball. He put his shoulder down and just battering rammed his way to the rim over and over. Right hand finish, left hand finish, floaters, pull ups. That man lived in the paint. And there was a couple times where he's still trying to figure some stuff. That's the thing is, he's still trying to figure stuff out. He had 33 and 12 last night. But he got a little too...
Started the game 4 of 7 in the first quarter.
Yeah, he got a little too deep in the paint, and they collapsed on him, and he tried to spin back because he loves to spin. The crazy thing about him is most guys only spin one way. He can spin right-hand or left-handed. He spun back into traffic a few times. It was like, all right, you need to snake that dribble a little bit more. Keep it like you'll learn the finer points when they... Because the difference in coverages in the regular season versus the playoffs, drastically different. You're going to get guys overcommitting. I was talking to an evaluator earlier, last night, about the Russell Westbrook, spacing, but we call it the Sasha Thibault rule, right? How that originated when you would play off of Cephalosha. You played 4-on-5. That happens in the playoffs. In the regular season, you don't get that. And so that extra defender with not 1 but 2 feet in the paint, you have to be aware of that. And sometimes the right play isn't kicking it out. Because that's what the defense is saying. We're going to live with Al-Farouq Aminu
stepping out of bounds before he takes the 3.
But if you go back and look at that Pelican series, Aminu was really good. Really good. I think he shot like 44% from 3 in that series. But getting the ball out of Dame's hands mattered so much more, not just because it's somebody else shooting, but you neutralized what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
And what Cade figured out was, I know how I need to get to my spots and be aggressive and put the pressure on them and not overly defer to the guy that they want me to give the ball to.
And I think that led to a big point of contention with Knicks fans last night on social media was the free throw discrepancy, and you saw that the refs they played some catch up. At one point in the game, the free throw discrepancy was in favor of the Pistons 20-4.
Mm-hmm.
20-4. And at the end of the game, it was 34-19. The free throw gap still sizable, but what you just laid out and described was the big difference there in that game. Now, do I think New York should have probably had a couple more free throws sprinkled in there? Yeah. But Cade Cunningham got to the line 12 times because he was putting his shoulder down and being aggressive. And we know this about in the NBA. The more times you go to the rim, the more opportunities you will have at the free throw line. Look at the other guys that had big free throw nights. So 10 of 12 from Cunningham. Jalen Duren had 6 free throw attempts. Dennis Schroeder had 6 free throw attempts. Those guys, one is a big, the other is a downhill guard as well.
Okay, so these are the numbers from last night, from the playoffs. Number 1 in drives last night, Jalen Brunson, 24. Number 2, Cade Cunningham at 23.
Also, you can say the overcorrection by the officials coming. We talked to Habistrat yesterday about an all-time low free throws in game 1s
there was
across the
some
board.
ticky-tack stuff called last night in both games.
And
did not like it.
It was what was it? They were under 20.
It was 18.2, I think is what it was.
Yeah, free throws combined, right? You had 34 in the night game, and then in that the early game you had what's 34 plus 19? 53 free throws. A little bit different. That overcorrection came. I want more of game 1 than game 1s than what we saw in game 2s, and I hope tonight we see a little bit more of that because
it was very inconsistent.
That Pistons Knicks game, it got a little throwbacky Eastern Conference basketball in game 1. I want more of that.
Look, I said this in the Rockets Warriors game. I love the fact that the screeners are being allowed to be physical with screens, and screen defenders are allowed to grab, pull. Like, we have legislated strength out of basketball. Like that, it bothers me because like, oh, it's so much more pretty when you play fast and free and open. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not.
Yeah.
Because you're taking a swath of players in the league who aren't the fastest, but you're saying that speed and quickness matters more than strength. And look at the NFL as a comparison. As things have kind of gotten back to a little bit more run centric, would you agree that the game's better?
Yeah, it is. It's fun.
Because you're allowing the big, strong people to be big and strong.
Mm-hmm.
The same thing is true in the NBA. Now, I don't want games in the 60s and 70s. I don't want that. But there has to be a balance of like letting Jalen Duren be a freak.
Mm-hmm.
If Jalen Brunson's going to put his shoulder down into Jalen Duren and bounce off and throw his hands everywhere, I like it when the ref takes his whistle out of his mouth and drops it like, no, dude, you're giving up 100 pounds. Why does he have to get out of your way?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing here?
Well, it was a good game.
It was.
Down to the wire. OG Anunoby, Karl Anthony Towns, after each scoring individually 23 points apiece in game 1, they combined for 20 points total in game 2. There's your difference right there, right? You can say free throws all you want, but it really does come down to Karl Anthony Towns and OG Anunoby either not creating their own looks as they did in game 1 and not converting on them like they did in game 1.
Well, not just that.
You lost by 6, man.
Jalen Brunson, you talked about Dame and getting selfish. Brunson got super selfish. And look, there's Knicks fans right now are killing Tibbs for not getting Karl Anthony Towns the ball. And I'm like, man, if you're a dude, you go get the bleeping ball.
Yeah.
Karl Anthony Towns' last shot came with 5:20 to go in the third quarter. He played the entire fourth quarter.
He should not be third in attempts on that team.
Like, go get and if you're Karl Anthony Towns and you haven't seen the ball, go in the freaking huddle and say, get me the bleeping ball.
Yeah.
Go run a hard screen, break away from whatever set and go do what you need to do. Look, and Tibbs needs to get him more involved. There's no doubt about that. But the thing is that we've seen this from Cat over his entire career, disappearing. He has had more games under 12 points or under 15 points in his career than he has over in the playoffs.
That's no good.
Because he disappears. Don't get me wrong, when Cat is great, he's very good. But Cat doesn't have okay games. Cat has either very good games or where the hell is Cat?
There you go. Yeah,
And
you're
it's
right.
like,
That's why people don't buy into Karl Anthony Towns.